This is the plaintiff, Jennifer Saltalamacchia. She says she provided daycare services for the defendant's son for about a year, and everything was great. Then, out of the blue, the defendant told her her services were no longer needed and was pulling his son out immediately. She reminded the defendant there was a 2-week notice cancellation fee. Was told, so what? And here they are. She's suing for $400, the amount she's owed. This is the defendant, James Roach. He says his son began to come home from the plaintiff's care hurt, with black eyes, even a fat lip. The woman never called him to alert him of an accident or anything like that, and he became suspicious. He took his child out of the daycare ASAP because he felt he was being neglected. Owe her a cancellation fee? Fat chance. He's accused of pulling out too early.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff provided daycare for the defendant, and everything was hunky-dory for a year until the defendant abruptly pulled his kid out without notice. But the defendant says he removed his son after the kid came home with a black eye and fat lip. It's the case of you give daycare a black eye.
Jennifer Saltalamacchia, you are suing James and Lindsay Roach.
Yes.
For $400, $200 a week for a 2-week notice period that they, according to you, they did not give you and owe you pursuant to your contract.
Right.
Tell me what's going on.
I provided daycare for their baby pretty much since birth. He was 6 weeks old when he came to me. He came every day, Monday through Friday, from 12 noon to 6:30. Everything was great. I love the baby. I miss him. We took excellent care of him.
Was that the only baby you were taking care of?
No, I have a family. I am licensed for a family daycare in my home.
So how many babies were you taking care of? Or how many children?
Up to 8 at one time.
Okay. Do you have any helpers there, or is it just you?
Yes.
How many?
3.
Okay.
Anyway, things started getting a little weird. I noticed that his wife was kind of like passive aggressively complaining, nitpicking, and
About what?
Like, for example, they wanted the baby to have organic milk, which I don't supply, and that's not a problem. So they were bringing their own milk, which is also fine. But she got annoyed because I one day forgot to tell her that we were running low. She was obviously annoyed, and little things like that. And one day I approached her and I said, Lindsay, it seems like there's something bothering you. Are you not happy with the care? Because lately you've been kind of nitpicking a lot, and I can't fix it unless you tell me, what's wrong. And she actually got teary. She said she was under a lot of stress, and she actually admitted that she was nitpicking.
That was how long before they took the baby out?
Probably 3 or 4 weeks.
Okay, and in total you took care of that baby for how long?
A year, exactly, a year.
All right, when do you finally figure out that they're taking the baby out?
On October 4th, which was a Friday, she said to me, I have some bad news.
Okay.
And I got a little scared because I didn't know what was wrong. I mean, I know her husband's been having medical problems and things like that. So I didn't know, like when she said bad news, I got scared. So I said, what's wrong? And she said, well, my parents are getting divorced and my mom is coming to live with us, and she's going to be taking care of the baby from now on. So I said, okay, because, these things happen.
Sure.
But then I asked her, when's going to be his last day? And she said, well, today's going to be his last day. He won't be coming back after.
Okay, do you have a contract with them?
Yes.
Does it have a 2-week clause?
Yes.
Let me see that. So go on.
So I politely said to her, well, Lindsay, we have an agreement that I would get 2 weeks notice if you decided to take the baby out of my care. And she said, my husband and I reviewed it last night, and there's nothing in it that says anything about giving 2 weeks notice.
But it does. Number 9 says provider or parent can terminate this agreement with at least 2 weeks notice. And
right. So I again politely said to her, well, Lindsay, I said, I know for a fact it does. I can show you the original, and I use the same contract for all the families.
Okay. And so does she pay the 2 weeks?
No.
Does he?
No.
Do you have any more contact with them after that day when you're asking them to?
Well, I left off with Lindsay that she said she was going to talk to her husband about the contract, and I told her I was going to pull out the original, and when he came to pick up the baby, I would have a copy for him, to show him. When he came in at 6:30 at night, he came in. I said, "Hi, James. Did you speak to Lindsay today?" He said, "Yes, I did." And he asked me, "What did she say to you?" And I said, "Well, she said that her parents are getting divorced and mom is going to live with you guys and take care of the baby." And he goes, "Yeah, well, that's part of it, but there's more." So I said, "Well, what more?" And he goes, "The black eye." And I was confused and shocked at first, but then he started accusing me, making false accusations that his child had sustained multiple injuries in my care.
Had the child sustained any injuries in your care?
One a week prior, very minor.
What had happened?
He turned 1 year old in September, so he was a new walker. And this one time, he just kind of fell to the floor on the carpet, but he bit his lip, the inside of his lip.
Was there ever a black eye?
No.
Did you let the parents know that happened?
Yes.
And they kept the child there another week after that?
Yes.
All right, what's going on?
I disagree, Your Honor. There was many causes of concern before we came to the decision to remove our child from Jennifer's daycare. She never gave us sufficient notice when supplies ran low. So we had asked Jennifer to give our child a 50-50 mix of formula and milk. So
Organic milk.
Organic milk that we supplied. So a week later, Lindsay went in to her and asked her how the supplies are doing, and she found out she wasn't using any formula. She was only giving him full milk, and she ran out of the organic milk and started supplementing him with her own milk.
Okay.
Okay,
what happened with that?
Lindsay never told me to do the half and half. She just told me to do organic milk.
Okay.
And
Right.
a week
Is
later,
anything in writing about what the new instructions were?
No.
No.
That would be a really good idea. Okay, so go on.
Okay, so basically it was a brand new formula that accompanied the organic milk. So my wife discovered it was never even open.
Is your wife here?
She's not, Your Honor.
Okay.
She couldn't get off work, but I have a
All right,
statement.
so go on. What else was a problem?
Okay, my child would come home in other brand diapers than what we supplied. So
Okay.
my wife went in and asked Jennifer how our diaper supplies were, and she said they were fine.
What did your wife okay, you keep telling me about stuff your wife complained about. It'd be really good if your wife was here.
Yeah, well, I'm going to get to...
But just tell me, would she complain about the diapers?
No.
Did she ever say anything to you about diapers? She says
No.
in her statement that she, on countless occasions, he'd be wearing some other child's diapers. I think she means diaper brand, not the actual, not the one supplied by us. I would ask if she was low on diapers, and she would say no. I'm sorry, but what does that mean? Did she ever say to her, this is the problem, I can't cross-examine the paper. Did she ever say to her, these aren't the diaper brands I gave you. You're putting the wrong diapers on. Did she say that to her?
No, she never said that to me.
All right. Let's get to the nitty gritty here, because what we're talking about, diapers and that, and
Okay,
this brand or the other brand. Let's talk about a black eye, because you accuse
Yes.
her of the baby having a black eye in
Yes.
her care and not informing you.
Yes.
I want to know about that.
So is it negligent on the daycare worker's part or operator's part that the kid fell in and got a fat lip?
I don't think so, no.
Why not?
Because 1-year-olds toddle, they fall, their heads are big. You can't wrap them in bubble wrap.
Okay, who else is a parent? Negligence?
Yes, it is.
Really?
Yes, it is. I think they should have really been taking care of the kids, put them in their hands,
But if you have like 5 kids and they're walking all over the place, how do you do that?
hire 5 people to take care of those.
Interesting. And parent.
I feel it's just an accident. If he just bit his lip, then, you got so many kids. I understand.
Fair enough. Going inside the courtroom.
I had a doctor's appointment. My wife accompanied me on it. So when we got back to Jennifer's house, Jen had my baby in a stroller outside. My wife unstraps my child and sees the black eye was a swell mark here, and it was bruised over.
Do you have a picture?
I don't have a picture.
That would be really good,
Okay.
because she's denying it happened.
I know.
Right.
But I just want to get it out there because I
Sure.
do have. And she said he fell and bumped his head on the corner of a table.
Okay.
And it looked consistent with that. So we asked her to please notify us if anything else happened.
Okay.
Then on October 2nd, he sustained a lip injury. We weren't called. We weren't told. I went in to pick him up, and Jennifer told me it was not that bad, and that's why she didn't call. And there was absolutely no blood.
Do you have a picture of that one?
I don't, unfortunately.
Okay.
And it was swelled out.
See, the thing is, this black eye that you talk about, according to your wife's affidavit, it's not notarized, just a typewritten sheet and somebody signs it on the bottom. But according to that happened in August. You left your baby there in October. You see, in order for you have a contract, and just like every other Tom, Dick, and Harry who signs a contract, you're bound by it. There's no exception for you. So if your contract says very clearly, as it says, that you got to give 2 weeks notice, if you want to leave, because you can leave. I mean, you're free and American, and that's your baby. The thing is, do you have a right not to pay the 2 weeks? Because you don't want to just leave. You want to not pay the 2 weeks. For you to have a right to not pay the 2 weeks, there's got to be a breach by her, okay? That's what gives you the right not to pay the 2 weeks. When you tell me, well, Judge, my child had a black eye, and you keep your kid there 3 more months, that's not doing it for me. If it didn't bother you, it's not bothering me. Apparently, that's how you treated it, because August, September, October, the baby's still there. So tell me something other than, by the way, did your mother-in-law move in with you because of a divorce?
No,
did your wife tell her, yes or no?
No, because we found out that she had misinformed me about the bleeding. There was bleeding involved with the lip.
How do you find out there was bleeding when she said there wasn't? How do you find it?
Her coworker
said that the
said
child
that there was a lot of blood, and I have a statement.
Do you have a statement from her coworker?
I do.
No, I have a statement.
You have a statement from your coworker?
Yes.
Okay, which coworker told you that?
Lauren.
Okay, is that who you have a
Yes.
statement from? Let
Yes.
me see the statement.
But it doesn't, I don't know if she wrote anything about the lip, but it's a statement. It is a
Well, I don't
statement.
know. I want to know about the lip. Apparently your baby's very lovable and everybody misses your baby. I am very sad that baby James left so abruptly. We love him so much and looked forward to taking care of him every day. And then Lauren talks about how your wife said, oh, I'm sorry, we're not coming anymore because my mother's taking care of the baby. Did her mother take care of the baby?
No.
Was she supposed to?
No. We were trying to line up a new daycare. We weren't sure if we were going to be able to get the paperwork together.
Well, no, your wife is saying today's the last day. So by then...
Yeah, that was the 4th. So that was the last day. We weren't
Right,
sure.
you already had new daycare by then, right?
Okay, we had the daycare set, but we didn't have the paperwork so that he could go into the daycare yet. But, Your Honor, I have a statement from the new daycare, and they are witness to the fat lip.
Yeah, let me see. Okay, this is all about the discussion about the contract, nothing about the lip. Lindsay Roach, okay, this is from the new daycare provider, who says, Lindsay Roach contacted me on Wednesday, October 2nd. So I was told he received the injury at the daycare. That was the reason he was being removed. She also mentioned that he received 2 previous other injuries.
And Your Honor, those
Did you go see a doctor on any of these?
I did not, because none of them are major, but that was before.
Okay, here's the
I
thing
was
though,
in suit.
just stop. I don't disagree with your right as a parent to pull the baby out, absolutely. You know, if that's how you feel, you don't feel that she's paying close enough attention or whatever else, that's fine. But having had several babies myself, okay, I know that the most diligent of parents or caretakers who are staring at the baby, okay, if you're going to give your baby any amount of freedom and any amount of independence to discover himself and his surroundings, they're going to take a few steps and they may fall. Okay, and this kind of stuff is going to happen. These are all legitimate reasons for you to make a decision that you want to make a daycare change. They are not safety concerns that would allow you to breach a contract. Pay the lady $400 verdict for the plaintiff.
All right, so let's find out what the defendant thinks about losing this case. What do you think about the outcome here?
I'm just glad my child's in a new daycare.
Well, yeah, of course he's doing well, right?
Yes.
Everybody loves your baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
There's no denying that.
why did you just yank him out? You know you had signed that contract, which...
Well, I thought there was neglect going on and she wasn't following our...
Why no pictures of the big black eye or the lip? If it was such a big injury, an important one, why didn't you take pictures? Great evidence.
Yeah,
You could have used it
true.
here.
Yes,
Why
this
didn't
is
you?
true. I don't know.
All right, okay. Well, good luck to the baby.
Please step back, sir.
Wish him good health. All right, step on in here. Right over here next to me. You feeling on the outcome here? You feel...
I'm very happy because, you know, and it wasn't really about the money for me. Also, I felt he was bullying me into not filing a suit against him because he thought that he was scaring me into thinking that I wouldn't follow through because he was going to get me in some sort
You
of
picked
trouble.
on the wrong daycare provider, didn't
Yeah, he did.
you? Harvey?
So to win this, you have to show that the plaintiff used substandard care, and the fact is, it wasn't. That'll do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.